Why is this in the way of Jessica?
Oh, let me move that. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Welcome to a brand new episode, a live episode of the Fighting Back Podcast. My name is Patricio. I am the marketing director here at Fighter Law, and I'm sitting here with attorney Jessica Travis. Jessica, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am super. How's your day been so far?
It's been fantastic. There's not been a single thing that has gone wrong. It's just one of those great days.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How about you? You had a good day?
It's been a good day.
Yeah.
Let's get that microphone a little closer to you.
Okay.
Test 1 2.
How's that? Is that better?
Oh yeah, way better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I was a little bit loud on my end. So we're gonna do a quick lightning round of legal questions for you because there are a lot of times people have questions that they want to ask an attorney but don't have access to an attorney. But you do if you do have questions, feel free to give a call to our office 407-344-4837, 407 Fighter, or check us out at fighterlaw.com. So, Jessica, our first question for today is here we go. If someone gets pulled over and the officer suspects DUI, what are their rights in that moment?
So everybody has a right to remain silent, no matter what. So you don't have to answer any incriminating questions like how much have you been drinking tonight or how many beers did you have? Did you just come from the bar? Any of those kind of questions you can absolutely not answer. You do you are obligated to answer background information though for the officers. So you're required to give them your license, your registration, your proof of insurance. You're required to ask background information or identifying information to make sure that the officers know who you are. But you don't have to do field sobriety exercises, and that's a big one, I think.
Really?
So a lot of times officers will say, well, if you're just fine, then why don't you get out of the car and go do some of these one-legged stands and touching your nose and walk in a straight line just to make sure you're okay. I got to tell you, I can't do these exercises sober. I've tried. I have. I can't. I have no balance or coordination. It's pretty terrible. But the good thing is they're not mandatory. They're not required. You are absolutely in your right to tell an officer, no, thank you, officer. I don't want to do those exercises. And you don't have to.
So if I get pulled over and I don't want to do anything, I don't have to do anything. Is that correct?
Well, you're saying anything. And the answer to that is kind of. So you don't have to do field sobriety exercises. Those you can say, no, I don't want to do them. But if the officer finds probable cause to arrest you for a DUI, then the officer can request that you take a breath test. And if the officer does that, you do have to take the breath test or your license can be suspended and you can be charged with an additional criminal offense for refusing to take a lawful breath test. So you can refuse some things, but not everything.
We actually have a comment in the live feed right here. Same, I trip on air.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Next question coming in. What's the biggest mistake people make when they're first arrested?
So I think the biggest mistake people make is trying to explain themselves to the police officers, right? So if you get arrested and you've got handcuffs on, there is a good chance that the officer has already made their determination and they have decided that you are guilty of whatever it is that they think that you may have done and you're going to jail. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times once the handcuffs come on, people try to talk their way out of it. Well, I mean, you see, officer, what really happened and it went down this way. I have never seen an officer unarrest somebody because they were able to talk their way out of it. I haven't. What I have seen is people start talking and then they start saying even more things. And then later on, when we look at the case, we're just like, ooh, yeah, it actually made it worse that you said all of those things to the police. So I think when somebody does get arrested, I think the first thing they do is stay calm, remain calm, understand that there is just some things that are going to happen. They're going to get arrested, they're going to go to jail. And the best thing to do is to contact a criminal defense attorney right away so we can start working on it.
407 Fighter. Fighterlaw.com. All right, next one coming in. Actually, I'm really interested in the answer to this one because I see it in movies and I see it in TV shows. When can I ask the officer, am I being detained?
And I feel like you gave me a trick question there.
Okay.
Because the answer to your question of when can I ask the police, the answer is whenever you want. You can ask the police anything you want to ask them. But is the question you're really asking me, when does an officer have to tell you that that you're being detained?
All right. So when do they have to tell you that you're being detained?
They don't.
Wait, what?
The officer doesn't have to tell you anything. The officer doesn't have to explain themselves to you.
So
the officer has to do their job.
They don't have to tell me if I'm being arrested, detained, questioned. They're just, it's whatever.
They can just do it. They just conduct their investigation. Now, I have had some times where an officer is questioning you, and my clients have had those clarifying statements of, am I free to go?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I being detained? And sometimes the officer will say, nope, you're free to go. Okay, well, I'm going to go now. And the other times an officer is going to say, you absolutely cannot leave. So I do always think it's good to be polite. And if you are being questioned or stopped by an officer, to ask those clarifying questions of like, can I leave now? If the officer says yes, go. If the officer says no, then you should stay put.
Yeah, 407 Fighter. All right, next question coming in. What happens if spouse hides assets during a divorce? You see, we shifted from criminal. Now we're going to family.
Okay, we're going family now. This is good. So there are a lot of ways that we can find that out. So in a divorce case, there is mandatory disclosure, which is, as it sounds, mandatory. So both parties, both spouses have to give all of their financial information. So bank accounts, paychecks, investment funds. They have to give all of that documentation. And a lot of times when looking through that documentation, that's when we can see, is there something being hidden, right? So for example, you look on a paycheck and you're like, half of this paycheck is going to another bank account that we didn't know about till right now. Well, we can now request that bank account information and start going through those bank records, right?
Yeah.
Or we go through bank records and we see, hey, there are all of these withdrawals and transfers that are being made to this other account. We can go in and figure out what that account is, why it exists, and what money's going in there. So through the discovery process, we typically can try to figure out if there are assets that are being hidden and kind of have that money trail and follow that paper trail.
Gotcha. All right. Good information right there. So we're going to shift again. And now I'm going to take you into what steps should I take after an accident?
So this is a really great one because a lot of people, you're obviously not expecting to get into an accident and people don't know. So the first thing that happens when you get into an accident, the first thing that you should do is to go somewhere safe. Get off the roadway if you can. Get out of the traffic area and kind of pull over to the side to make sure you're someplace that's safe. A lot of times what I've seen is there are minor accidents that happen and people will stay on the road and something major will happen after that. So if they're in the roadway, people don't see them and then the car gets hit again, or sometimes the person gets injured if they get out of the car. So the first thing absolutely is go to a safe place to the side of the road if you can. Second thing is call the police. Make sure that the police officers come out to do a report. That's really important because the officers are going to come out, they're going to see what happened, they're going to talk to each of the parties, they're going to talk to any of the witnesses if they're available, and they're really going to be there to help make a determination of what happened. How did this accident happen? Who is at fault? The third thing that you should do is if anybody is injured, make sure that you seek medical treatment right away. If it's an emergency, make sure that the ambulance is called and that you go to a hospital and emergency room right away. If it's not an emergency, make sure that once you are out of the accident scene, you go seek treatment right away. That's really important because not only do you want to take care of yourself and to make sure that you're getting the treatment that you need, but if you wait too long, there may not be coverage or benefits that are available to you.
Is there a limit when it comes to doing that?
Absolutely. So, in every person who has insurance is entitled to personal injury protection benefits. And those are benefits that your insurance company provides to you if you've been in an accident, regardless of who is at fault. Those benefits, however, are only available if you seek medical treatment within the first 14 days after an accident. So if you wait 15, 16, 17 days to go seek treatment, then those personal injury protection benefits aren't going to be available to you anymore.
And there's nothing to do that can be done to get that back, right?
That's correct.
Oof. So 14 days within.
Yes.
All right. And then I'm just put it up again one more time. 407 Fighter. If you've been at all involved in an accident, give us a call. 407 Fighter. Let us fight for you. All right.
The sooner the better. It really is. Once you've taken care of the emergency situation and once you've gotten that treatment that you need to take care of yourself medically, call us. We can help you figure out the legal process and work with the insurance company.
So the final question that I have for you, Jessica, and this one gets thrown out a lot. We hear it in the news, we see it in the movies, TV shows, all over the place. But here is the question: what is the common myth about pleading the fifth that you wish people understood better?
I love this one. I really do. So let's really talk about what is pleading the fifth. What does that even mean? So when we talk about that, we talk about the Fifth Amendment. And the Fifth Amendment is the right to remain silent and to not incriminate yourself. So the good thing about the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent is it can be used at any time. When officers are asking you questions about something that you may have done that is not a great thing, you don't have to say, I plead the fifth or any of that. You just have to be silent, not answer questions. So there really aren't magical words that you have to use in order to invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
You just have to be quiet.
You just have to be quiet. You can tell the cops, I don't want to answer any of your questions. I don't want to talk to you without my lawyer present. I don't want to answer any of this. I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment. You can also say, I'm pleading the fifth. But when we talk about pleading the fifth in court proceedings, though, that's when it gets a little more complicated.
How so?
Because in that situation, if you are asked questions that may incriminate you, you are allowed now to invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and say, I'm not answering those questions because it may get me in trouble.
So I was just gonna say that right there, because you say I don't want to incriminate myself. Now, I think I have a good understanding of what that means, but like break that down to me. Like, I don't want to incriminate myself.
Yeah. So not incriminating yourself is basically not telling on yourself.
Okay.
It's not saying something that's going to admit that you were doing something that could cause you to get in trouble criminally.
So if my little one says that, I notice the cookies are gone from the cookie jar and I see crumbs on her face, I see crumbs around the floor.
And you said, did you eat those cookies?
She doesn't want to say anything to incriminate herself. Is that
right?
Correct?
Exactly. But the one thing about pleading the fifth that people, I think, need to understand, which is a cool nuance, is if you plead the fifth or if you invoke your right to remain silent in a criminal case, it cannot be used against you. A jury's never going to know about it. The judge can't hold it against you. It absolutely cannot be used against you in a criminal case. But
there's always a but. There's always a but. Come on.
But if you plead the fifth in a civil case, then the judge can presume that your answer would have been incriminatory, which means in a civil case, if somebody asks you, did you murder John Doe? And you said, I plead the fifth. The judge and the jury and whomever else cares can now assume that you did in fact murder John Doe.
Ooh.
So it really does matter what proceeding you're in and what type of circumstances that we're talking about when we discuss whether it's a good idea to plead the fifth.
So with great amendments come great responsibility.
There you go.
All right. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge and expertise. If you have a question, give us a call, 407-FIGHTER. Check out our website, fighterlaw.com. You want to set up a consultation? You have multiple ways. You can do it online. You can do it over the phone. You can drop by. We can set you up with a consultation with the attorney as soon as possible. With that being said, my name is Patricio. This is Jessica. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.